Hello, my name is Krupesh Parmar and I'm studying Game Development Advanced Programming at Fanshawe, London. And this is the demo of Project 1 from Graphics 1 subject. So the Project 1 is about loading a bunch of models and create a sensible scene from them. So let's run the project first, then I will take you to some of the code snippets. Here's our scene. So it is a park scene at night time. Let's look at some lights first. So this is a point light, and these are the parameters that we can control. For example, the diffuse color, the specular highlight, attenuation. These are some other parameters that I use to determine the type of lights and to turn it on or off. Now I've attached a debug sphere to see where the light is exactly located. Now these are all the stone paths. These are individual models. This one is a T-shaped stone path. Yeah. And on top of that there are some stone edges. Yep. And we have a flower box and some flowers, a bench, a lantern, a couple of trees, bushes, and stones. And in background we have some clouds and some hills. Let's look at this bench model. So here the bench has a mesh object attached with a model name and the path. This is the path, actual path of the model. You can select whether the model should use light or not, or it should use RGB colors or the mesh colors. You can also turn on the wireframe for all the models. There are 4 lights here. One spotlight, another spotlight, a point light, and a point light here as well to illuminate this part of the scene. I've called it big point light. Okay, now let's see if we want to add another object, game object, then how can we do this? So there is a button for add new game object. Let's give it a mesh name. Let's have another bench. As you can see, we already got one. Since I'm using vertex array object, so we already had loaded a model with the bench name. So since we already had one bench, so just by passing the bench name, we can get another bench. Let's try tree 1. Oops. Let's try to place this tree around here. Okay, so now we got another tree. Now let's adjust this camera to get the best view. Maybe around here, and save it. We will open the scene again. The camera will be at the same position, and there's our newly added tree. So let's look at the XML file responsible for the whole scene. Here's the XML file. So I'm storing the scene in this format, a scene, then the name of the scene, and then the game objects. So this is just the editor camera. The other game object is point light, and it has all the light parameters saved here in this format. It's quite a big file actually, around 2000 lines. Okay, let's look at the structure of the code here. So we have a scene editor responsible to control the whole scene. We'll initialize the glfw. We'll create a window. And we'll create shaders from these files. We'll start our game loop. Let's look at the game object structure. So game object has a transform component, a mesh object, a parent game object, some children, and a list of components. And there are some other functions and constructors. And yeah, the name of the game object. So transform is a child of I component, and it has these values: position, rotation, and scale. And I component has these values: the name of the game object to which this component is attached to, the type of the component, whether it is light, a camera, or anything else. Then some pure virtual functions. Which are implemented in all the base class. Let's look at the light. Light is also an I component, and it has these values. Now let's look at the scene editor. So first we will initialize the scene. I'm using IMGUI, the dear IMGUI for the UI of this engine. We'll initialize it first using the init scene render, then some functions to create new game objects, delete game objects. In the render, here we render the UI elements, the hierarchy and inspector. Then we have a shutdown render function and load apply files function. So this engine currently only supports the apply files. And this is the code for it. And this is the code to load the scene file, the XML file. So this function will load the scene file. And this function will save the scene file. So that's it. That was the demo of this project. I'll continue improving on this game engine, try to improve the structure, make it more organized. And that's it. Thank you for watching.